Morning. So I've done a couple videos where I said I was gonna have a 30-day break, but they were like New Year, Christmas. It wouldn't, be my journal unless I did that. And I don't plan on doing this every day like I was. But I did want to chime in today. What a good morning. It's sunny outside. Dude, I got my hair cut and she went all the way up here, so it's like a freaking mohawk. But you know what? As much as I wanted to call, complain, and whatever, I didn't have that opportunity. I had to go back and work a step with my sponsee. I got to work a step with a sponsee. All these times I've taken by working steps with my sponsor. Now, this is the first time I ever got to work a step with somebody who's working it with me. So this weekend, let's talk about it. What did I do this weekend? Well, I was invited to a volleyball thing. So I went to Auburn and played volleyball. Not the greatest at that. But I didn't know anybody. I met this one dude once and invited him to go hiking with me. And I haven't talked to him since October. And then he hit me up and said, hey, yo, based on our conversation, I've been thinking a lot about stuff, and we got to connect for a little bit, which was awesome. He's younger, so I'm given an opportunity to be a positive role model for somebody, because I'm older. And what else? Well, before I did the volleyball thing, I put a washer and dryer, replaced my ex's, who her dryer wasn't working. And, she's been defeated by that. Now she has a working dryer. Went down to Centralia. I have a coworker who replaced a friend of his washer and dryer. They needed to get rid of it. And I was gladfully able to drive down there, load it up into a truck, which wasn't easy. I mean, it wasn't too bad, but it wasn't easy. There was no ramp. And then be there for, my kid's mom. And then from there, go play volleyball. I joined a basketball league, which is 8 weeks. 8 weeks. So I'm gonna get my cardio in for 8 weeks until I start my hikes, and hopefully I don't damage myself in this basketball thing. But volleyball kind of showed me that I'm ready for it. And yeah, man. Who'd have thunk, right? That a year and a half ago, because a year and a half ago, fuck, dude, I was struggling, to the date. But a year and a half ago, I would have never guessed that I would have joined a volleyball thing by a complete stranger and go to Auburn and eat at a place called Dick's Hamburgers, which, by the way, if you've never been, go. It's a staple in Auburn and Seattle. It reminded me of what you would expect to see in the 50s, what the first McDonald's would look like. It was a great experience, and it wasn't that expensive. The burger was $5. The fries were $2. I spent $12 total for burger, fries, and the fries were amazing, by the way. I had no idea. I just typed in burger buy here, and that place was open till 2. Don't hang out. but there's no place to sit. It's just you walk over, you grab it, and it's like that movie, The Founder. It looked just like that. So I'm throwing a plug out for Dick's Burgers in Auburn. My basketball thing starts on Thursday. I don't know anybody there either. I kind of know one person who invited me. So I just want to keep doing things outside of my comfort zone, going out and extending my life. Pretty cool, man. I got to help a couple people this weekend. I got to, you know, be of service to multiple people this weekend outside of myself. I got to be a mentor. I got to be a friend. And I'm taking care of myself. Yesterday I went to a meeting and the topic was about step 9, making amends to other people. What I shared was that the best amends we can make to ourselves is a living amends. All this talk is cheap. I talk a lot. You know, all this talk is cheap. What are we doing for ourselves? You know, what are we doing for others? People, if you were like me and you were constantly saying sorry, shit, man, I was saying sorry to a fucking 6-year-old, to a 12-year-old, to an 11-year-old. Fucking saying sorry to kids, saying sorry to my family, to my work. They don't give a fuck, man. They give a fuck, and they'll take your amends and they'll say, yeah, we're rooting for you. But the best amends we can make is to ourselves by living it, by doing the right thing over and over and over again, making mistakes and then making amends to those mistakes. Like, I'm not gonna get clean and then just fucking be perfect, man. I'm gonna get clean and fucking get in relationships I shouldn't have, get out of relationships I shouldn't have, say a bunch of shit I shouldn't say, make the amends properly, immediately, regardless if people are like, man, I'm tired of hearing you say that. Whatevers. I'm not gonna not. I'll keep making these mistakes, which aren't nearly the same mistakes I was making when I was up in my room a year and a half ago, calling in sick, trying to figure out how I'm going to call in sick today. What the fuck excuse am I going to use today? I haven't called in sick in a fucking minute. You know? I take that back. I called in sick a few months ago. And then before that, it was over a year. So, twice in a year and a half. Where I used to call in sick fucking every couple of months. Every couple of weeks. Not calling in sick is making an amends to my work. Showing up is making an amends to my work. Fucking producing is making an amends to my work. Them not having to see me all fucking shitty. They can't say anything because of HEPA or whatever. Not having to fucking deal with that is making an amends. A new person started yesterday. Being a mentor for him is making an amends to my work. Taking care of my body is making amends to myself, to my kids, to my family, to my whoever my partner's gonna be when that ever happens. You know, like I don't know when that's gonna happen. It's been a struggle for me, but I'm learning to like just trust God in that situation. That's been my biggest challenge in the last year and a half. Wanting and not turning it over. I feel great today. You know, last night I recorded a video and I didn't post it. And it was a fucked up video, man, about my bullshit. And I'm glad I didn't post it. Because today I feel way different. It's just I was really, working that step. I also worked it for myself. Those questions, when we go through them, and I ask them to my sponsee, don't make no mistake, I'm thinking about them for myself, but I'm replacing it with something else. And it's in the back of my head, so I can still be available for what he's saying. And then when we were all said and done and I dropped them off at a meeting and headed out to go shopping, it all hit me at once. And I was thinking, man, I'm trying to fill a void I can't fill. I used to fill that with fucking drugs and alcohol. Stopped doing that, so I tried to fill it with women, relationships. Couldn't do that when the void is to be filled by my higher power. It says it right there at the end of that step, that you will start to realize that you can't fill that void. And when you stop using drugs, you'll try to fill it with something else. That was powerful. Very powerful. Because we had just talked about that, and then I read it out loud. I'm never going to fill that void, which I don't know what is, by a person, place, or thing. As much as I want to. As much as I feel like, oh, it'd be so nice to go home and have my fucking head rubbed, or fucking just bitch about my day, or hear somebody bitch about theirs, and lift them, uplift them, and I lift, all that is fine and dandy. But that comes with not needing to fill a void, and I'm learning that. It's a place to connect, not a place to be like, hey, I'm empty, fill me. Some people ain't got enough spoons, dude. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, well, if you have enough spoons, then give one away. But if you count your spoons. If you don't have enough spoons, man, you don't need to be giving away the rare spoons that you have for yourself. That was good advice. Really good advice. I'll give away. I will try to fill somebody's well when my well is empty. I need my well filled, my cup anointed with oil, and I need my cup to runneth over, as it says in Psalms 23, in order for me to spill into somebody else's cup. And when my void, when I'm trying to fill that fucking void where I feel empty inside, how the hell am I going to make somebody else feel not empty if I feel empty? We'll both meet together and both be empty as a motherfucker. Speaking of which, I saw Lucy has this thing where she gets $1 now every time we say the F word. And I owe her $1 today. But we were walking by and there's this little grave we made for Roly Poly. And the rock that we put as the grave was lifted over. And she was like, Bob, what happened to Bob? The rock's moved over. And I said, Bob's strong. And Bob moved the rock over. And then we walked over some branches and broke the branches. And she's like, yeah, Bob is strong. And I said, yeah, Bob's the strongest motherfucker in this block. And she started dying laughing. And she said, okay, you owe me $1 later. Only because that was funny. And that just had me dying. These are the conversations I have with my kids now. Versus, I'm sorry, Daddy wasn't good today. I was all sweaty. Recovery, man. It's a verb. We need recovery because of the nouns. That's my teacher joke for all you teachers out there. Oh. All they had was orange creamsicle. I was bummed. Dude, it's the best ever. Holy smokes, dude. I'm always getting chocolate peanut butter. Orange creamsicle. A recommendation. Yeah, this right here is 40 grams, 0 sugar. By the way, so if you're wondering what would be a good, I'm full of plugs today. All right, that's a 15-minute rant. Guess what? If you're new in recovery, just stick to it. And then all of a sudden you'll be just ranting about some bullshit and you won't be tripping. If you're worried about your bills, just keep working and trust that something out there is going to take care of you. I mean that. If you're looking for a relationship and you just want that one person, make it your higher power. And your higher power will provide you that person. I'm trusting in that. And if you're just getting started, a year and a half ago, man, I wanted to die. I wanted to drive my car into a semi. A year ago today. A year ago today. It was within this week that I contemplated driving my car into a fucking semi. And the only reason that, I didn't, other than being too chicken shit to do it, is that I thought about, what if that person has kids? What would my kids do if they found out daddy died? And what would the other people that got involved in the accident that fucking flipped their car or whatever the fuck it is had to do if their kids were now parentless? And so I just drove to work and dealt with it and cried inside all fucking day. So if you can relate to that, it gets so much better. And it will get fucking different. And you will feel better eventually. But you gotta just do it. Recovery isn't just sitting in a meeting and listening to people talk. That's part of it. It's meetings, step work, sponsorship, service commitment, sharing, and fucking action. It's action. It's not a knowing thing. It's a doing thing. And then one day you'll be tripping about the fucking person who cut your hair versus wondering if you'll ever get your hair cut, or too scared to go into a fucking salon to get your hair cut. There was plenty of times that I just was too scared to go get my hair cut because I didn't want them to see me the way I was. And make no mistake, they did. And the conversations that I would have when I would try to not make eye contact and hear the other people around and see people stare at me and then make fucking weird faces and have to sit through that. I don't have to live like that anymore. Now I get to contemplate if I want to complain and not do it. Now I gotta go into work and deal with this shit. Confidence builder, right? So, we have what it takes. There's another 3 minutes. I'm out. Love yourself so you can love others. Loving others helps you love yourself.